Hello, and welcome back to the second episode of The Masked Confessor. Now, I wouldn't classify myself as an embarrassing person. Like, I'm not clumsy. I don't usually trip over a banana peel, if you know what I mean. I'm usually pretty aware of my surroundings and myself. But for whatever reason, I cannot avoid embarrassing, cringeworthy moments. I'm sure everyone has experienced it, but the level of cringiness that I experience, I feel is like on another level. And so I've lived through a lot of these moments that are like very humiliating, very violently cringe inducing, that some of them I can't even afford to think about it because it drives me crazy. But for today, I'm a little drunk and I muster up the energy to tell you guys about these moments. And I want to put it out there. I want to get it over with and just put it out there and forget about it. These are the moments that I've not told anyone because even like thinking about it drives me crazy. I haven't even told any of my best friends. I can't even tell any of my best friends because I'm too embarrassed to admit that these experiences has happened to me. Now, I'm going to be telling you guys a few of these stories. Two of them just so happens to be during the COVID era that involved Zoom. And trust me, when I say that the viral clips that you probably have seen online pertaining to those embarrassing Zoom meetings where someone forgets to mute their mic and is shit talking someone else on the call, or someone forgets to end the meeting and have their camera on and, it's like dancing or changing their clothes. When I tell you that those clips do not compare to what you're about to hear today, they do not compare. What I'm about to tell you is on another level of cringe. So buckle up. The first story, I call it the naked screen share. So this happened during COVID. I was working at this company. It was a work from home position, obviously, as there was a freaking pandemic going on. So I had these monthly one-on-one meetings with my manager or my boss. If you've worked in a corporate setting yourself, then you would probably know what I'm referring to. You would probably have these one-on-one meetings with your boss as well, like maybe on a monthly basis or some even more regularly. But the meeting is usually very chill. There's no agenda. You can talk about anything you want. And in one particular meeting, this one-on-one meeting, I wanted to share with my boss a project that I had been working on. And as I was working from home, obviously I had to share my screen. If you've ever shared your screen on a Zoom meeting, you would know how the process goes, right? You share your screen and then you would ask the audience or the other person, can you see my screen? So I shared my screen. I asked, can you see my screen? But this time he said no. So I played around with the settings and I asked again, can you see my screen now? But he still wasn't able to. So I tried getting up and like playing around with the cables of my monitors, thinking like maybe it's loose, maybe something's not tight enough that was disrupting the screen share. But even after that, he still wasn't able to see my screen. And then as I continued trying to figure out what was wrong, I noticed this light beside my laptop camera shining bright, which means that my camera was on. So instead of sharing my screen, I had actually turned on my video camera. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, you accidentally turned on your camera. What's the big deal? Well, During this meeting, I was completely but naked. Like, I wasn't wearing a shirt, I wasn't wearing a pants, I wasn't even wearing an underwear. And I did this a lot actually during the COVID era. So I wasn't wearing anything during this meeting. And I didn't think that I would have to turn on my camera because it was just a one-on-one call with my manager, very casual. So the whole time that I was asking my boss, could you see my screen? My camera was actually on. And mind you, this was also peak COVID. So I hadn't cut my hair in months. Like, my hair literally looked like I had slept in the jungle for a week and I just escaped the jungle. It looked like feral, it looked untamed. It was just looking like Tarzan that hadn't showered in a month, that just escaped the jungle after being chased by a bear. So, in this event where I thought I had shared my screen, I was actually turning on my camera and my manager was actually staring at my crazy hair, my confused face, and even probably my nipples. But remember, there was a point in this event where I stood up, right? I stood up to like tighten some of the cables of my monitor. And during that period where I stood up, as you can imagine, my penis was like literally right in front of the freaking camera. And this was for probably like a good 5 to 10 seconds. My manager was just staring at my flaccid, ungroomed penis. This next story that I'm about to share is even crazier than the first one. In my opinion, it's personally the most embarrassing moment that has happened to me, this next one that I'm about to tell you. This also happened during the COVID era, which involved Zoom calls as well. But thankfully, it was with a different company. It was actually my first day of work with this company. It was also a work from home. But during this first day of work, my work equipment, like my company laptop, monitors, etc., it hadn't arrived. So I was still using my personal laptop for day one. So first thing in the morning, I hopped on my very first Zoom call at this job, which just so happens to be with my manager. It was a very like casual meeting. We just introduced ourselves, talk about the team, the culture, etc. And she suggested that instead of waiting for the equipment to get started on things, why don't we install some of the software applications on your personal laptop so you can get a head start? I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. She then asked me to share my screen so she can walk through all the installations. Now, at this point, I was already very hesitant to share my screen because it was my personal laptop. Like, it's called personal for a reason. But I still shared my screen, obviously, because I wasn't going to say no to my boss on my first day of work, you know? She then tells me to download this application. I won't say what application because it might reveal my occupation, but it starts with the letter P. So I proceeded to open Google and typed in the letter P. As I typed in the letter P, instantly under that search bar, all of my previous search history, really like with the letter P, appeared. And it was all like Pornhub. Now, before I proceed with the story, which gets a lot worse, I just want to clarify something really quickly. I'm not a porn addict. The reason why only the Pornhub links appeared was because, number one, it was the letter P, obviously. And number two, I'm usually pretty diligent in clearing out my history. but I like to leave a couple of the Pornhub links that I had enjoyed watching because I want to be able to find it easily in the future. Now, back to the story. So all of my Pornhub links were showing up under the search bar, but what's worse is it wasn't just the links, but it included the video titles as well. And I would say I'm a pretty kinky guy, especially when it comes to like the videos that I watch. It's pretty wild. So the video titles that were being displayed was like freaky, especially back in the day. I'm not as wild today as I was. At that time, I was still exploring a lot of things, and the video titles were crazy. But that's not all. If you watch my first video, you would probably know that I'm gay and I'm closeted. And all of the Pornhub links that appeared under the search bar had the dash gay in the URL. Like it was like pornhub.com/gay and then like the video title. And if you're closeted like myself, you would probably understand how embarrassing and shameful that felt. It's like I was being outed by myself. So just to recap, it was my first day of work. I had the meeting with my boss first thing in the morning. I shared my screen, opened Google, and there were all of my gay Pornhub links with freaky titles being displayed. Now, if you think that things couldn't get worse, think again. Because when this happened, when all of my Pornhub links had appeared in front of my manager in my screen, I froze. Like, I physically froze. Like a freaking Windows 98 computer. I froze for like a probably good 10 seconds before I could like get my mind to start working again, stop sharing my screen, and I came up with some reason to end the call. I ended the call and I was like panicking bad. I was contemplating on even quitting my job like then and there on my first day. So yeah, that was probably personally the most embarrassing moment of my life. All right, I have one more story to tell you guys. This is called the singing incident. This happened in high school. It was way before COVID. I was best friends with this one girl. Let's call her Mary. We both had shared a love for singing. Now, Mary was friends with another girl called Amy, who also liked singing. But Amy was a really, really terrible singer. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean here. She cannot sing on pitch to save her life. So me and my best friend Mary, being kids, we like to joke about Amy singing, but privately, never in front of her. It was kind of like an inside joke between the two of us about how bad Amy singing is. So in our school, we had this solo singing competition that happened every year. Any student could participate, and they would sing in like an auditorium in front of all the other students as well as teachers. So in that particular year, Amy had signed up. But for that particular event, me and Mary, we didn't attend because we had like exams coming up. We wanted to study instead of watching students singing in the auditorium. So we skipped the event. But Amy's mom was actually a teacher in the school who did attend that event and actually recorded the performance of Amy singing. And the mother posted it on Facebook. Now, I was friends with the mother on Facebook because she was my teacher previously. So I came across the video on Facebook and I watched it. And to no surprise, it was terrible. I then called my best friend M that evening, right after watching the video, to tell her about it. Because again, we both like to joke about Amy singing. So I called her. I was like, hey, I need to tell you something. Did you see Amy's mother posted her singing from the solo singing competition on Facebook? I just watched it and it was so awful. It was bad. I don't understand how she has the courage to sing in front of all those people with that voice. And then my best friend M on the phone immediately interrupted me. She was like, hey, just so you know, I'm currently driving the car. You're on speaker and Amy is sitting next to me in the passenger seat. I was appalled. I did not know what to say. I just remember like wrapping up the conversation really quickly. I was cringing so bad at myself. So yeah, those are some of the embarrassing moments that I've experienced in the past that I probably will never tell the story again. It will only live here in this video for eternity. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have experienced anything more embarrassing than what I had shared today, please do let me know. And I hope to catch you guys on the next episode.